Women fought for the vote in this country. They fought to be equal, and then we've got Islam taking over. Go to Tower Hamlets and try and be a woman with an opinion on anything. You know, there are areas that are purely Islamic now.
Is Islam compatible with the UK?
Well, when we look at a warmonger who stole caravans, who hid in caves, we look at the religion that he preached. It's the ideological equivalent of a caveman's religion. You can marry children, you can marry your cousin, and the moral compass is very much in context with its 7th century roots. And of course, that's not going to be compatible with a developed democracy within the West.
Islam is compatible to most societies because the aim of Islam is to bring benefit to a nation.
I'm an ex-Muslim from Saudi Arabia, so I've gone through it all. I've lived in Sharia law, which is like true actual Sharia law, and that wasn't fun. That was quite difficult, and it's just like very limiting to free speech and limiting to freedom of expression and freedom of being oneself.
Is Islam compatible with the UK?
I think it should become compatible with the UK.
But is it compatible?
Currently not, because the UK is full of Islamophobes, as you must know.
I lived in a mainly Islamic area, and we suffered racism. If I walked my dogs, we were called filthy. My kids were, my daughters, not my sons, but my daughters were racially abused, attacked. One of them had a stone brick thrown through her face just for walking down the street, told she's a vanilla face. So these are the things that we have come up against, and there's loads for the country. Right. It is not a compatible ideology.
With Islam, I think it's a very misunderstood religion. I think people have taken it out of proportion, you know, especially with the Quran and some of the text in the Quran. A lot of people have, you know, misinterpreted it, and I think, you know, a lot of people have done things in the name of Islam that's given the religion a bad name, just like any other religion.
What do you think is the UK citizens' issue with Islam?
Well, Islam is not integratable. It's not a system by which you can get into the UK without you having to change it or remove some things. Right. So Islam, being this exotic religion which is being imported via the left, is socially conservative, even though it kind of pesters to the left. And of course is an ideology which isn't integratable.
Due to the propaganda, due to the inevitable rise of Islam. So Islam is projected as the false enemy as to what the real problems of this country is.
You're asking someone who's an ex-Muslim. I would say Islam for me is just like a really difficult religion to manage, because it's got like in the scripture, the scripture could be like literally interpreted to be very extreme. Like you've got really difficult things to actually cover up in the scripture. But yeah, I feel like that's where the sentiment is sort of growing from, and a lot of the news is kind of skewed towards that.
What do you think is the UK's problem with Islam?
I think it's a combination of not wanting to admit that Christianity has failed, and that Christianity's replacement of liberalism has also failed, and I guess, you know, that there's a kind of unacknowledged racism and snobbery, like, you know, it's the religion of the immigrants who've just arrived. We don't want their religion, ours is better. But it seems that hardly anyone believes in Christianity.
And then we've got Islam taking over, not all of it, but go to Tower Hamlets and try and be a woman with an opinion on anything. You know, there are areas that are purely Islamic now. The rule on the street, the rule of everything, they are pretty much self-governing within a country, and that country allows them. The police are scared of them.
Some Muslim groups from certain cultures are not integrating with, you know, British society, so it gives the whole of the religion a bad name.
Why do you think Islam has a bad reputation in the UK?
Because actions speak louder than words, and if you have secret grooming gangs within Rotherham, I don't imagine you're going to be particularly liked by the public.
A lot of Muslim countries was in war for the past 15, 20 years. You have Afghanistan crisis, you have the Iraq crisis. So you have all these differences. So when these things come on board, then you have the terrorism issue that happened in 9/11. And what happened in 9/11 is a very sad story. But however, Islam get blamed for it. Muslims get blamed for it. Saudis get blamed for it.
Islam has a bad reputation in virtually all of the Western countries, it's linked with many acts that are not compatible with, Western values. For me, like, if Islam does have a bad reputation, then it probably deserves it. Not the Muslims, but Islam itself, the religion, because it is a religion that can promote extremism and can promote oppression. And yeah, I think that stems from that. Like, if you look at many events in the world that happened where terrorism is involved, Islam is quite literally on the headlines.
The Americans like invading oil-rich Muslim countries and overthrowing their governments and then shipping their people over here as cheap labor. I mean, every now and then I guess some of them go mad and, blow themselves up, I guess.
You're welcome to live here, as everybody has. We have loads of people. They've assimilated, they get on, there's no beef. Right. The only beef in the world, mainly, is Islam. Yeah. Everywhere it goes, everything it touches. And I'm sorry, but if you are offended by everything, go somewhere you're not, where you are compatible. Don't try and make me compatible with you, because the majority of people of all colours and religions that are not Islamic in this country, we all feel the same. Women have no rights anyway. It's just a farce. I've just been talking to a man who tells me in this country he's got 4 wives, yet in this country we're only allowed 1. So why has he got 4?